To me, my X-Men.
X-Men 97 has finally come to an end. The season finale is on Disney Plus, and you got to go watch this show. If you're a Marvel fan, if you're an X-Men fan, if you aren't an X-Men fan, this will make you become a true X-Men fan. This is going to be a full spoiler dive on what I thought about the series as a whole, so make sure to tune in, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 700 subscribers. Helps it a lot. It's free to do so. So let's get right into it. We're not going to do a plot synopsis because this is a spoiler review, so you should know what the show is about. But yeah, this is a sequel to the original animated X-Men show from 1992 that spanned 5 years to 1997, and this is the sequel show, which is called X-Men 97 because it takes place in 1997, picking up right after that original left off. So this show is basically new for me, and I haven't seen the original X-Men show, so I went into this show kind of blind. I asked people, did I need to watch that show? Some people said no, some people said yes, so I just went in this blind. I didn't know what I was going to get into. I didn't know what was happening, but I really caught on pretty quickly, so I will commend them on that, letting people go into this blind. They don't have to watch the original show. But after this, I'm definitely going back and watching that original show, and even gonna rewatch this show again because I can't wait to binge this show more and more, because this is a true masterpiece of a television show, and it might be the best show of the year. But yeah, we're gonna get into my thoughts on the finale pretty quick. But I'm just gonna say, watch this. This is probably my favorite show of the year. It might be better than Shogun. I just need to think about it. Recency bias. I need to think about it a little bit because Shogun is an amazing show, but this is a superhero show. I'm more connected to superheroes. I grew up with superheroes, and I have not seen something from Marvel this good maybe since Infinity War. It might be the best thing Marvel's ever put out. Don't sue me here, but it's surprisingly close how good this show is compared to Shogun. They're not even the same show, but it might be my favorite show of the year. It might be top 3 animated shows for me. It might be favorite. Who knows? Who knows? Don't kill me here. I know some people think animation is childish, but let me tell you, this show is really adult. I wouldn't say that people should let their kids watch this. I think it's like I'd say like a maybe 12 plus, 14 plus show if I was to, give it a rating on how old you should be to watch this, because there's a lot of mature themes that they're talking about that would be hard for kids to even understand. It's a very violent show. Some of the death scenes are so emotional. When Gambit died, very, very emotional here. And when they're talking about, the kind of two-way battle between Magneto and Gambit for Rogue, who's going to get that, the themes going on between humans and, mutants and all that, Bastion, what he's talking about, kind of hard for kids to understand that. So it's kind of hard for kids to be familiar with those topics, with the story, but it's one you got to really experience to go into it. So I thought it was just fantastic. That's a masterpiece. So if you haven't seen it yet, watch it. If you want to go into spoilers, that's fine, but watch it. If you have seen it, watch it again, watch it more and more. And Beau DeMayo created this show, and he wrote most of it, if not all the episodes. I don't think he directed any episodes. I think he's just behind the creation of the show. And he has been really vocal on Twitter after each episode, talking to fans, giving quick little Easter eggs. He was even, he even replied to one of my tweets when I asked, what is this character? Who is Bastion? Because I didn't know who Bastion was. And he gave me a quick, website to go look who it is. So I really do appreciate what he does as a creator, and lets people know what's going on, reacts to things as the episode comes out, talking to different fans. It's something that I wish other creators would do, providing a lot more insight into their work, into the media that you're taking in, being nice to fans. Some fans aren't grateful, as Zack Snyder fans, but I think that what Beau DeMayo did here is actually awesome. Talking to fans every single night for the last 10 weeks. And yeah, 10 episodes, 10 weeks. What a great weekly show. We're still talking about 10 weeks. Fallout, on the other hand, that's why you gotta do weekly. That's why you gotta do weekly. But sad news, he was unfortunately, I don't know if I should say fired, but him and Marvel parted ways a couple months ago for reasons we don't really know. They're trying to keep that locked up. Who knows, what he did? Who knows what he didn't do? Who knows if it's just Marvel doing their thing, just like how they fired James Gunn. But I don't know. I really don't know. If they should bring him back, because this is one of their best projects of all time. And he might have done some pretty bad things. If he did some pretty bad things, probably don't bring him back. But if he didn't do anything really that bad, I think they got to pull James Gunn and bring him back, because I don't know if these next seasons will be as good without him, because I think he only worked on the first two. Because I'm really impressed with what he did with the season. It's a lot. It's a lot. It really is a lot. They pushed a lot in this season, but it's so well done. And I think that he really was behind a lot of this, and he really helped a lot of fans enjoy it. Did a lot for the marketing. So I really do hope that maybe he can come back in the future. I don't know what's really going on with him in Marvel, but I gotta really commend him, really thank him for his work on this show, because it cemented itself as one of my favorite things I've ever seen. And this year for television is just going insane. Just wait for next month. We're going to have so many great shows. But let's get into the finale. The finale just finished. It was a 3-part finale, which is something you don't really see much. It's a massive idea to bring to screen. I was wondering, how would it work? A 3-part finale spanning 3 weeks. You'd think you just have a finale in the 1 week, but it was truly something to witness in the moments, every single week. After each part, I feared more and more for each of these characters, because the stakes were getting higher and higher and higher. The kind of damage being done to the mutants and the humans and to the Sentinels was insane. Tolerance is extinction. What a great title. Let's talk about part 1 of that finale. Bastion was a terrifying villain, and he kind of controls all the Sentinels and all the people, which is such an interesting thing to see. He wanted all mutants out of the equation. He is a true hater. He's like Kendrick Lamar. He's like, I hate the way that you talk. I hate the way that you walk. That's what he said. So that's what he's basically saying to mutants. I love that. I love it a lot. And that's just a cruel villain going out on everything. And you had the team up between Cable, Jean, and Scott. The whole family team up was cool. I love that whole team up there. They were almost a family, but Cable doesn't think that this Jean is not Cable's mom. It's the other one. So that's why they're not really a full family. But that was a great scene to see them fighting side by side. But I think the thing that stole the show in part 1 was the fight with Wolverine and Nightcrawler. Oh my God, when Nightcrawler pulled up with the 3 swords, I was like, this guy's going crazy. You got to bring some swords to the battle, and I'm in it. If someone holds a sword, you got me. You got me. Like me and John Wick 4, that's my favorite action movie, because guess what? He fights with a sword for a lot of that movie, and this is some of the most badass stuff in this entire show. He was taking people out one by one using the sword with his tail. And then the visual that blew me away the most was when Nightcrawler, he teleports. What is it? What is this teleport thing? It's like a blurp, people call it. When he does that thing, it's so cool how he can just do that. But he took one of the Sentinels, but he also took Wolverine with him, and you got to see the perspective of Wolverine looking at this and everything happening, and pulling him, his arms like kind of elongating. That was epic. That visual, the animation here. So that's kind of part 1. Part 2 blew my mind on a whole bigger level, because this was a much darker and sinister, no pun intended, part, because Sinister also plays a big part in this episode. You had Magneto doing his own thing. He's like, I'm out of here. I'm going in the sky with my little island. I'm taking out the humans. I'm done. And Rogue and Roberto follow him instead of staying with the team, with his family. This could have been terrible, but they made up in the next part. We'll talk about that. And the fight between Jean and Cable was so emotional, crazy to see, because Sinister was controlling Cable. But this fight, the visuals in this fight, Cable, when he went crazy, it kind of looked like an anime fight in a sense, but that is just, kind of cool how just Cable can stand one-on-one versus her. And then, of course, Jean teleports Cyclops in this moment, and you get to see Jean in the fight through his kind of lens on his mask. I thought that was a great visual, and you're like, I actually thought that Jean might have died, because I didn't know that she could do like the Phoenix thing, which we'll talk about. But the ending battle in space was even better. The X-Men versus Magneto was unbelievable, and I loved when Magneto pulled out all the sass in the world and was like, Charles, I'm gonna say these 2 words, shut up. And I'm like, dude, calm down, bro. You're fighting and you want to pull that little quip out. And it's absolutely amazing animation in this fight scene when Magneto's just like 1v3ing all these people. It's much better than any of the fight scenes and any of the animation in the What If series from Marvel. And this animation outdoes everything that Invincible did this year. Logan stabbed Magneto, which was unexpected. Then the most unexpected thing happened for me. Magneto basically tore the adamantium out of Logan's body, and they're ending the episode on that still shot. I was like, there's no way you end the episode right there. How do you end the episode on the still shot of all the adamantium leaving Logan's body? I was shook. I was shocked. that week for the finale was a difficult wait, 7 days to see what happens next. There's people, comic readers probably know what's going to go on. Logan's probably going to get his bone claws from that. I've seen Hugh Jackman have bone claws in some of the movies. I've heard that he's going to go feral or something. I don't know. As I said, not a comic reader. Leave some comics down below if you want me to start reading them. I will. But part two was so insane. You think part three can't be more insane, but nah. It's more insane. Part three was even crazier. Starts the episode off with Charles and Magneto in this kind of like time restraint kind of thing that Charles put Magneto in this bar. Charles is trying to bring Magneto back to the good side. He's talking to him, talking about his past and all that. I love this scene. I love these scenes. Thought the script in this episode was terrific, especially these scenes. You got some really fun cameos in here. I think this series has done really well with a lot of different cameos. You got to see Iron Man here, Captain America again, Daredevil. You got to see Daredevil, Doctor Strange, one of my favorite Avengers. That was awesome. You got to see him actually being a doctor while being a Doctor Strange. So that's cool. And you got to see Black Panther. You see Peter and MJ, Cloak and Dagger. You got to see Mr. Fantastic. I don't remember seeing any of the other ones. I got to see Mr. Fantastic. That's basically it. And then you got to see some of the other X-Men down on Earth. So there are the other X-Men there. And so that's awesome to see all those people. Those cameos are pretty short. They don't do much for the story, but it shows you that these other characters are on Earth. They are living here, and it sucks that live action can't do that because they have to pay all those actors. But it's so cool to see all these characters show up here, and it shows that Jean didn't die, but she came back as the Phoenix, which is a thing that I think she can turn on off and on now. Still not too sure about that. She goes one-on-one Bastion. You think he's gonna die? We're only like 5 minutes in the show. I'm like, Bastion's not dead yet. He's not dead. He basically turns into like a full mech and with wings, which is that badass design. I was like, that design is crazy. Rogue is fighting Bastion in space, which is cool, but she can't go one-on-one with him. She's gonna lose that fight. And she was doing it for Gambit. She was like, remember him. And I'm like, yeah, remember Gambit. The best X-Men. Then the Jubilee kind of 1v1ing Bastion was funny too, because there's no way. Jubilee, you're not gonna stand against Bastion. And Bastion tells her a 4th of July joke, and she's like, yeah, I haven't heard that one before. And I'm like, it's a great one-liner, because all I think about when I see her use her powers is like, these fireworks aren't doing anything for you, Jubilee. I love you, Jubilee, but you're basically a 4th of July mascot. Let's just say that. And then you had Cyclops versus Bastion. This was everything. This was the fight of the century, fight of the year. Nothing's gonna go better than this. I don't care what Deadpool and Wolverine bring to this. Cyclops will never be this cool in live action. Never, never, never. Them using their kind of concussive blasts against each other. Oh my god, the beautiful shot that this laid out. And this shot was insane because Cyclops is doing it out of his mask, but Bastion was just he opened his mouth and everything just came out of there. I was like, where do you find this energy from, my guy? And Cyclops just went harder and harder. He was like, I'm not giving up. And it was just like chef's kiss. It was chef's kiss. It was so good. And after this, Bastion is pretty much dead and deformed, so Cyclops did all the heavy lifting kind of here. Then Magneto finally wakes up. Cliff is kind of falling down to Earth. They got to save it, so Magneto saves it. Kind of gets his little redemption, which is cool. But then all hell breaks loose. All the X-Men disappear. Where are they at? Where do they go? Then you have the return of Bishop in the end. They're like, where are the X-Men? You have this little thing on the wall where they're presumed dead. I think it even showed that Wanda was kind of gone too. I don't really know what happened to that, but this is what happened. I don't ask me what happened because I'm not a comic reader, but some X-Men are in the past, some are in the future, and I've never read a single X-Men comic, so I have no idea what's happening or what's to come. But am I excited? Oh yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what's going to go on, but this is going to be a very complicated season 2 to get right, and I hope they get it right. But the post-credit scene was all I've been waiting for. My favorite X-Men, I think, is coming back. I don't know what's going to happen with them. It looks like Gambit is going to get some kind of return, and I'm so happy. Gambit is finally coming back. I've been waiting, Gambit, and you're finally going to come back. I thought that this finale was everything I could have asked for. It's a masterpiece, but that's we're talking to the finale. Let's do our full review of everything else. Let's talk about the animation. This show, as I said, is really an adult animated show. It's 2D animation, and it's done some type of animated way of a retro style to kind of look like the original show and kind of match that feel, which I think people who watch the original show do like. I love the animation. I thought the fight scenes looked even cooler with this kind of animation style. Some people I've seen are really hating on it, but I think think it brings kind of nostalgia to that old time for others who experienced that, as I said. And I really thought it all looked great, and the colors blew my mind. The color usage in the show, as I said, in media like movies and TV, you got to really have a good use of colors, or just have some really standout colors in the show. You can't look gray. This show doesn't look great. A lot of Marvel stuff looks gray right now, but this, colors and animation is a lot easier to do, but they really figured it out here. And I love the intro of this show. I'm not very nostalgic for the intro because I haven't seen the original show, but this might be the one show where I haven't skipped the intro on any episode, because the intro does something for you. It gives you information, and it gives you kind of knowledge of what's going to come in this next episode. And that theme from the Newton brothers is true cocaine for your ears. It gets better every time I hear it. So what they do with the intro, they kind of change it every single episode, where they take characters out, put new characters in, and they're putting different moments at the end of the intro that kind of match what the next episode is going to be like, match who's going to show up in this next episode. Because they had Gambit in kind of each intro until he died. Then the next episode, he wasn't in the intro anymore. I was like, bro. I was like, come on, man. And then they started bringing Charles into the intro when he came back. So it's really cool to see how they're changing the intros here. I'll probably just say my least favorite episode was the Charles Xavier like singular episode, because I think every episode I really loved, and I did love this episode, but I didn't emotionally love it as much as others because I didn't connect to any of these other characters, because I didn't know any of these other characters. I didn't know what the heck Charles was doing, standing up, walking around. I didn't know how he was doing it. It's something probably from comics lore, probably from original animated show lore. So yeah, that's the only one I didn't love as much as the others, but I still thought it was a really great episode. Thought that each episode really was great. Each episode did great at telling its own story, but also continuing the full story of this show. And people have been saying, that this is a very fast-paced show, and I do agree, it's very fast-paced, but it also just keeps you latched on, keeps you really full into this. I love the first two episodes, kind of how like they're kind of harmless, but then you get really into it with 3 and beyond, when Sinister shows up, when kind of Bastion shows up with the Sentinels. Was that episode 5? It gets crazy. The first 2 episodes are just like kind of the tip of the iceberg, and then you go, everything just goes crazy after that. So each episode straight up masterpiece. So let's rank the characters here. I'm probably trying not to make this too long, but the voice cast, all the actors here did excellent. Everyone deserves their flowers because they all did great work, and it's cool to see that some of the voice actors are the same ones that returned from the original animated show. The only issue with that for me was that some of them sounded a little bit too old for their characters. The only one that sounded a little too old for me was Rogue. I thought she sounded, a little too old to be voicing this character again. Thought she did a great job with her performance. It just, she sounded a lot more older probably than the character is supposed to be. I don't know how old these characters are supposed to be, but let's rank these characters. We're going to rank the main 11. I took some people out because some people are hardly in the show. 11, I'm going to go Bishop. Bishop basically was in the first 2 episodes, then he just disappeared, and he's like, I'm out of here. And kind of just, he's like, we don't see him until the finale again. So he had some cool moments, especially that moment with Cyclops in the kind of one of the first episodes, but I don't really care for him outside that. 10, I'm going to go Roberto. He has a lot more to do, a lot more to learn, a lot more to become an X-Men. He is cool. I liked his sunspot powers when he used them. He's kind of just there for a lot of the episodes, wasn't really doing much. I like his relationship with Jubilee in that one episode. Nanya Beast, one of the most famous X-Men, but at the same time, I wanted more from him. He's basically a scientist guy, which is what we know him from, so I'm not going to put him any higher. 8, I got Jubilee. I thought that she was a great character. I love her comedic beats here, and as I said, I like her relationship with Roberto is kind of like flowering. I love that episode when she was kind of, what was that, like 8-bit, 16-bit kind of episode. That was a really cool episode. Her powers are really cool, but they just remind me of the 4th of July. Let's just say that. 6, I'm going to go Logan Wolverine. Logan's cool. He's really one of my favorite X-Men characters. But one thing I appreciated what they did with him here is they didn't put him the front. They didn't put him at the front. He's one of those X-Men characters that just stays in the back. You don't really see him that much. So I'm just going to put him at 6. I really do love him. I love what he did. He tried to save the X-Men by just taking out Magneto. Didn't end up working. He got the adamantium ripped out of him. But I think that next season he's going to have a big kind of, big renaissance with this character. He's going to have a lot of big moments in the next season. 5, I got Rogue. Rogue had a cool relationship, kind of like a 3-way, kind of, her going between Magneto, her going between Gambit, what's going to happen with that relationship. And it's so interesting to see how that played out, how she's trying to go from, Magneto's side to the X-Men side. Her character was going through a lot of turmoil, a lot of grief, so I really liked how she was handled. Before I got Magneto, what a great character. I've always loved Magneto. Michael Fassbender, I thought his live action adaptation of Magneto is really, really probably one of the best ones. But this animated version of Magneto, he must be, I think he's a lot older than all the other characters because he does look a lot older. I'm not sure how I feel about the long hair look. I think that's kind of interesting. His costume's great here. When he finally woke up and finally broke out of Bastion, he's like, I'm going to take everyone down. I'm destroying everything. I'm taking all the electronics. I'm like, calm down, man. But he actually goes against everyone. He goes against the X-Men in that one scene. The animation in that one scene is crazy. Him taking out Wolverine like that, taking out the adamantium. Insane stuff. He did some insane stuff. He's got a lot to go back on, but he did kind of redeem himself by the end, so that's cool. Top three. I got number three. I got Jean. You got here. Jean. I think she's up here a lot because I just love what her character was doing. You had that character moment of her not knowing what she's from, not knowing who she is, because you had the other one, Madeline Pryor is the other one that was here because Sinister messed with her brain. The whole Sinister plotline was something that I really did love. I really like how they handled that. Her trying to get back those memories. She had that one kiss scene with Wolverine because Wolverine likes her a lot. She didn't know what was going on. She didn't know what she was doing, and it was hard to see her character go through all this because we thought that was her in the first two episodes, but it wasn't her with her kid. It was just insane to see her character development through this whole thing. The Phoenix Force at the end was awesome. But top two, number two, my two favorite X-Men on this show so far. Two is Cyclops. Cyclops, just his concussive blast. You could feel them through your screen. You could feel them through your speakers. Man went so crazy with the concussive blast. That one epic superhero landed he had I think the first episode with the concussive blast was something to truly take hold. He was like the leader of the X-Men for one episode. He really had that position for just a short amount of time, but I loved it. Him going 1v1 versus Bastion was an epic moment. But my favorite character and favorite X-Men from this show was Gambit. I thought Gambit really had a lot of charisma, really was one of the funniest characters of the show, and he really stood for what was right. And he was having a hard time too, emotional moments, because he loved Rogue, but he saw that Rogue really couldn't love him back because she couldn't touch him, and Rogue was she was just with Magneto most of the time, and Gambit was just by himself. But his powers are so cool. Kind of has that magic card kind of feel. He has those purple powers, not even sure what to call them, but he is so cool. He had this just standout moment in episode 5, I think it was, and that's the highest rated episode of IMDb for the show. So everyone says that they love that episode, and he has this emotional death scene. This show is so emotional. I wasn't prepared how emotional it was going to be throughout the 10 episode run, but it's so emotional. Hit you right out there. When he died, I was like, oh my god, I can't believe it. And I actually thought they were going to go time travel and bring him back, but they didn't actually do it. But you do get to see kind of in the finale, the post credit, he's going to return in some way. I don't know how he's going to return. I don't know if he's going to return a good guy or a bad guy, but I just cannot wait to see him use his powers again. He's so cool. One of the coolest things I've seen on screen in a long time. And I don't know what's next, but Beau DeMayo, the creator, stated that he had a 5-season plan for this before they parted ways with him and Marvel. But I think he said that he finished developing season 2. I think they're doing voice work on that right now, so we could get that pretty soon. But I haven't been this into X-Men for my whole life until now. The X-Men live action movies don't really do much for me except like Days of Future Past and Logan. That's the one that does a lot for me. I speak for others when I say the hype has been off the charts for the past 10 weeks on Twitter, YouTube, people celebrating these characters and this adventure that people are going on. It is it's cool. It really is cool when you have everyone celebrating Marvel instead of tearing it down one movie after another. 'Cause no one likes to see that. But when you have something this great, you have all the fans come together, and where does it go after that season 1 cliffhanger? I have no idea. As I said, I don't read the comics. I don't know what the lore is. I don't know who these characters are. I don't know what's going on, what kind of future past stuff we're gonna deal with. But season 2 is going to be a full season. It's going to be a full season of adventure. I'm definitely going to be watching Ending Explains. Maybe I'll watch the Easter egg. Maybe I'll react to the Easter egg video from that one guy who does all of them. I always forget his name. Let me know if you'd like to see that. But this is cool. And you know, we can talk a little bit about live action because Marvel said they've been planning to do bring in live action X-Men, do live action movies probably in like 2020, 2028, 2027, probably when they'll start that. But I wonder how that's going to work and how long, if they actually do a 5 season plan of this show. If it's going to be interesting to see if this show will still be running when Marvel's going to do their live action stuff, because I don't think they'd want that. I think they'd want this show to be done before they do live action, because there's no way the live action movies can be as good as this. There's no way you can do X-Men as good as this, and it's gonna be just cool to see how they're gonna play during the live action, how they're gonna try to make that work. But it's just gonna, you're just gonna look back on this show and be like, this is so much better. So we'll see how they do it in live action. But that's it for my review of X-Men 97. Overall, this show was just a masterpiece on all different levels. Might be my favorite show of the year. The animation, the score, the character moments, the emotional moments, the villain, everything is just 10 out of 10. I loved every single episode. So X-Men 97, I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10. I was thinking 9.9, 9.5, but it's just the finale just cemented itself as one of my favorite animated shows, so that's why I'm going for that full 10 rating. I cannot wait to go watch this show over and over again. I can't wait to go binge it again. I love these characters. I can't wait for season 2. Hopefully we don't have to wait like 2 years, maybe like 1 year for season 2. I just can't wait. But that's it for my review of X-Men 97. Let me know what you guys thought of this show down below. I'd love to talk to you about it. If you have any like comics that you think I should pick up to read before season 2, let me know down below. But yeah, if you did enjoy my review, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel. It's free to do so. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.